Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here with some more Rick Grimes movie news, which is always great. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some things that comicbook.com reported, so always shout out to them, credits to them. But now the word is that this Rick Grimes trilogy will complete the Rick Grimes story. Now this is very interesting because there's a lot of things that need to happen in order for us to feel like the Rick Grimes story is completed. And from a fan's perspective like myself, I want to discuss some of the things that I think needs to happen in order for the Rick Grimes story to feel completed. But you guys in the comments down below, you leave your thoughts and opinions and what do you want to see in these Rick Grimes movies that would make you feel like the Rick Grimes story is completed. So this is what was reported from comicbook.com. They said The Walking Dead star Andrew Lincoln, who will lead a trilogy of television movies as Rick Grimes after exiting the Mothership series in season 9, says the movies will continue and complete Rick's story. So this is what Andrew Lincoln himself said, and I want to read this really quickly. He said, "I love this character, I love the world that we inhabit, so why don't we try to potentially continue this story in a different way and maybe complete his story so the Mothership can continue." Now I love this because it's obviously very generous, and he really thought about this because he knew, and because a lot of fans were also saying this, that there's no way The Walking Dead can continue without Rick Grimes. And if Rick Grimes died, I think it would feel totally different in the way it does right now, because we know he's out there somewhere in the world. So I'm happy that they came to this conclusion to continue the Walking Dead show, but we know Rick Grimes is alive somewhere. And there was even outcomes of the story where Rick didn't survive. They even said that here. I'm going to read it right here off the comicbook.com website. They said, "The father of two explained there were many iterations of Rick's departure from the main series, some of which would have ended with Rick's death. The decision to instead spare Rick and spring him into his own movie franchise came rather late during season 8, and was until then a pipe dream." So yeah, we almost actually lost Rick, which is super crazy to think about. Like, I remember when the news came out in May, I was in such denial, and you can go back and watch my videos on those. I was in like total denial about this, and then Comic-Con came and he officially announced it, and then I was like, yeah, he's leaving, but maybe he could survive, because I was just in so much denial because I just couldn't imagine The Walking Dead without Rick. And as much as I was denying it, I kind of felt like maybe he's actually gonna die, and then next thing we know, a helicopter comes and saves him, which was just amazing. Moving on, he also said, quite astonishingly, at the end of last year, they said, "Let's go for it. This organically grew out from last year. There were versions of the episode that Rick wasn't going to make it, but thankfully it went this way." So yeah, there was actually an interview a few months back when the episode, Rick's final episode came, and apparently that season 8 finale, when Rick was sitting on the tree, there was a couple different versions of that. The first one was Rick was just gonna sit there and die, and the second one was that maybe Rick, like a helicopter, was gonna come down in that grass field, and then that's how Rick would survive from the helicopter. And then also I heard something about that episode where Jadis captured Negan. Instead of Negan, she would have captured Rick, and then the helicopter we saw in episode 14 of season 8, that helicopter was actually going to come down and take Rick away. But instead, we didn't get any of those, and instead they went down the way they did in season 9. And I think the way they did it in season 9 was perfect. I'm really happy they didn't do it any other way, because the ways in season 8 just sounded a little weird to me. First of all, Rick sitting in the tree dying after All Out War, that would have just been depressing as fuck. I will admit though, him sitting there dying and a helicopter comes down and saves him, that would be pretty crazy to think about. But it just would feel super out of place because he just, they just won All Out War, and then a helicopter comes and saves Rick. It would just feel a little weird, so I'm happy they did it the way they did in season 9. He went on to say that realistically, this decision was all about time. For me to want to do a limited number of episodes a year wouldn't feel like I was doing my job properly, because playing this part has been so all-encompassing. I think I would get frustrated with that, so the idea of being able to contain the story and still work just as hard until a different story in maybe a more expansive narrative way seemed very exciting to me. And I definitely agree with this, because this is much better than maybe keeping him alive on the show, but he's only going to be there for, I don't know, 3-4 episodes a year. I think that would be such a big letdown and disappointing, really. You know, you can't really tell a story like that. It's going to be very difficult to tell a Rick Grimes story, you know, with him only being 3 or 4 episodes a year. So I'm really happy they came to this conclusion to make the Rick Grimes franchise. Plus, they even asked Andrew Lincoln that would he have walked away from The Walking Dead if they didn't do this other, you know, franchise thing. And he said, yes, I think I would. So, you know, you can't blame the guy. He's been here for almost a decade. His family lives in London. And we can't really put ourselves, I mean, unless you've been in his shoes before. I haven't, you know, I haven't been away from family for, you know, almost a decade. But I can imagine it'll be very tough, especially kids, you know, he has 2 young kids. So, you know, all in all, I'm happy, though, they came to this decision, which makes us happy, makes him happy, and The Walking Dead happy. So now let's talk about what do you guys want to see in these Rick Grimes movies, because they just said, they're basically confirming here that this Rick Grimes movie franchise will, you know, continue and end, you know, the Rick Grimes story. So first things first, we don't know anything for sure. It's way too early. I mean, I'm even saying that because I just have a feeling that even though they're saying this, let's say these Rick Grimes movies are a total success. Everybody loves the shit out of them. You know, they win awards. They're just an absolute massive success. They most likely are going to want to do more of these. And it'll work with Andrew Lincoln's schedule, so why the hell not? But things line up pretty interestingly here, because just recently Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride both signed 3-year deals with AMC. So they can be on like The Walking Dead, any spin-offs or anything like that. It's like deals with AMC. They're also currently working with Denai Guerra, and I think she's taking a little longer because she kind of has like a movie career going on right now. And I think this is why Season 10 of The Walking Dead hasn't been 100% confirmed yet. We all know it's going to happen, but they're probably just working on contracts right now. And I'm sure they're going to want to bring other cast members and sign them on for 3-year deals also, like Kaylee Fleming. Hopefully that was her name. Hopefully I got that right. The actress who plays older Judith, because she's doing a great job with the material. I think, you know, she's a pretty good actress, so I'm sure they want to bring her, you know, along for the next 3 years. Now, the reason I bring this up is because this 3-year deal would cover them for season 10, 11, and 12. Now, season 12 would end in 2022, which would also be the year, or at least I think it'll be the year that the final Rick Grimes movie is. Because they want to start production on the Rick Grimes movies this year, so 2019, which would make the first movie come out probably in 2020. And then I would think they would do 2020, 2021, and 2022. I think releasing a Rick Grimes movie every other year would be way too long of a wait. So I think 2020, 2021, and 2022 would be good release dates for each Rick Grimes movie. You know, we get one every, you know, season basically. And season 12 I think is a great stopping point for The Walking Dead. Now don't get me wrong, I love The Walking Dead. It's my favorite show of all time, and I would love to see it for a long time. But this original show, I think season 12 would be a good stopping point. You know, I don't want the original main show to last until season 30. I mean, that'll be a little ridiculous, don't you think? I mean, I would love the Walking Dead franchise to go on for a very long time, and that's what they're planning to do. But the main original show with the main characters, you know, the original characters, I want this show. I think season 12 would be a good stopping point. And the main thing we need for the Rick Grimes story to feel completed is a reunion between Rick, Michonne, and Judith, and baby RJ. There's no way they're gonna end this, you know, the Rick Grimes story without the reunion. And even if they do, it just wouldn't feel completed. So that's the one thing we need, in my opinion, for them to say, okay, the Rick Grimes story is completed. Because that is what everybody is gonna be waiting for, because we know Rick is alive and we want to see that reunion. And I've talked about this in a previous video before, but what I think would be an epic ending to the Walking Dead franchise, or this main original series I mean, is that season 12 finale in 2022. Rick shows up in that season 12 finale. You know, it'll be the ending of the original show, and then that final Rick Grimes movie has everybody in it, all the main characters and Rick, and that would be the ending of the actual Walking Dead main series. That way we don't spend all 3 movies with whatever community we're going to. We spend like maybe, you know, a movie and a half or 2 movies, but yeah, 2 movies would be a good, you know, amount of time to fully understand that group. And then at the end of season 12, Rick comes back, it would be an epic, crazy, like cliffhanger, or like not really a cliffhanger. It would be a reunion, but everybody would be hella happy about it. And then that final Rick Grimes movie would end, the main series. I don't know. That's the way I see it happening, and that's the way I really hope it to happen. Because in order for a Rick Grimes story to feel complete, and they're saying that Rick Grimes movies will complete the story, there needs to be a reunion. And if they're saying that Andrew Lincoln will not return to the television show for whatever reason, maybe they can get him in for one scene or something, and then the rest of the group can go to the Rick Grimes movies. That way, they would have that reunion. But I'm gonna wrap it up there, and I want to hear from you guys. So in the comments down below, you leave your thoughts and opinions on how you want the Rick Grimes story to end, how would it feel completed, and who do you want to see in the movies. We're getting a lot of Rick Grimes movie news in this new year, so that is really awesome. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to hit the subscribe button to be kept up to date with anything new that comes out in the world of The Walking Dead. Again, I am going to wrap it up there. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.